Roy, let's jump right in because you mentioned in the previous answer. Talk to us about generative AI, what it's doing to impact API, what AI agents are doing to both hurt and
Mhm.
and support security.
Yeah. So this is um, a shockwave to the technology world that literally changing everything. So we started Salt based on the premise of moving from monolith application to distributed applications with Kubernetes that changed the world. To me, that's even a bigger shift in the world. So what it does, let's break it down. First of all, it if APIs or developing a new API took you days or weeks or sometimes months in an enterprise world, now it becomes minutes. You can literally go to ChatGPT and says, or Claude or any of those, it says, code me an API that does X, Y, and Z with these technologies. And it literally creates it. And it works. I checked and I challenge it and it works very well. And every month they are improving it. So what does that mean for an enterprise? If they had hundreds of thousands of APIs, now they will have tens of thousands because it's so easy to create them. So that's problem number one. When you have too many, when something is going very fast, it's very hard to discover or manage even an inventory of it. The second part is the frequent changes to these APIs. So it's not just creating a new ones, it's also frequently changing the existing ones. So it's always dynamically changing. So that's posing huge risk for security because they did a lot of manual processes around governing APIs, and it's impossible, because think like to me, I visualize it like you are in a on a pipeline in a manufacturing, like in a manufacturing role, and you are like five folks, and you have things coming up your way through the pipeline. You try to do something, and suddenly you have this huge wave of you barely kept up, and then you have a huge wave, and it's impossible. Like it's overwhelming. So to me, it's like doing 10x for everything. I think the third challenge is you don't generate the code anymore. Developers do not generate the code anymore. So whatever I told developers to do, now they need to make sure the AI is doing it. And it's very challenging because it's creating a lot of code and it's very hard to make sure you build security into these APIs if you are not responsible or you're not the one that coding it. Just glancing over the code, but you know how it is. People are generally tend to be efficient and try to innovate. So if it works, don't need to review everything. It works. So I think that's the third challenge. The fourth one you mentioned, that's a big one. That's AI agents. What is an AI agent? Essentially, right? AI agent in the end of the day it's just a piece of code that is pretty intelligent that is connected through APIs to a lot of systems in your company. So think about an AI agent that its purpose is to look for an answer through across multiple knowledge bases, right? Through your Salesforce, through your knowledge base, through internal wiki, whatever it is, your Slack, whatever it is. Essentially, what an AI agent do, it's connecting through an API to all these systems and query these systems for information and try to assemble an answer based on whatever you asked. But it means you have a piece of code that has very excessive permission to all your APIs, internal APIs that um, can pull a lot of sensitive data, and you don't really know how it works. It doesn't have defined rules, right? So it's creating a huge issue to what are they pulling, what data is being returned, what data they have access to. So you basically gave a master key to a person in the company. It says anybody can ask me anything. I'm connected on the back end to all my API. Like, tell me, what do you need? And you really need to, and you don't really understand the logic, so you need to put guardrails in place to really understand how it works and to make sure it govern it, to make sure that they don't deviate and do something that puts you in risk.